All right, guys. Welcome to the first test drive of the Pull 10 podcast. We are going to be doing more podcasts like these in the future, but today is going to be the Phase 3 Firelands Loot Prio stream where we go over the Loot Prio guide sheet that we built together over the last couple months. The goal here is to give you a good place to send your gear early on into Firelands and best optimize your raids to get your prog faster. Bosses like Baleroc and Ragnaros are super hard, and if you can send the gear to the right place early, you have a better shot of getting those down and finishing those legendary stats sooner. I'm here with Pummel today, and he's going to be helping me with talking through the sheet. Pummel did all of the simming for this, so he's kind of the knowledge repository, and today I'm pretty much just going to be interviewing him, talking about all of the loot and exactly what the goals are as far as where items need to go. So I'm going to pull up the sheet. This is going to be available on both of our Patreons in the next week or so. I think I'm posting this on Friday. So if you want to check that, it's going to be available on Friday. The link is in the description of this YouTube video, and it's also going to be posted in my chat. So thank you. $5 a month. You get that. You get an assignment sheet. You get a ton of shit. It's super helpful. Plus a ton of sod stuff too. So this is the sheet. We have intros and caveats and all of that. And we also have a thing here for tier, as well as kind of where Ragnaros is going, which we'll get to at the end, and also Baleroc stuff. This is what you guys have all been looking for, are the loot prios for all of the gear. This is all split up into physical DPS on one sheet, caster and healer on another sheet, and then tank loot on the third one. The tank sheet, honestly, isn't super valuable because it's kind of just like, give it to your main tank, give it to your off tank. But yeah, we spent some time building it out anyways. Do you want to just get started and go through the things boss by boss, talk about the important items, Pummel, or what are you thinking?
Yeah, let's do that. I feel like that's the best way to approach it. I also want to state some caveats before we begin. So on the sim currently, there's some classes that their 2-piece and 4-piece isn't properly simming, as in if you scroll over the item, it'll say 2-piece tentative implementation requires PTR testing to validate munching and rolling over, or just testing how it operates with pets. So looking at the tier priority that we discussed and we'll share today, keep in mind that this will change, and with the amount of tier that drops in these raids, it won't matter for that long, in my opinion.
Yeah, how many tier pieces do you get per clear? It's 3 per boss that drops it, so 15, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can't even use most of the ones that drop because you can only turn in the shoulders or the helmet immediately. So all of this is gate kept behind Valor anyway. And since it's coming out kind of week 2, you might be able to afford 1 piece if you get a tier piece, luckily. And half the time, you're not even going to break your tier 11 anyway.
And then as far as like priority, how are we thinking tier is going to go? Like the 4 pieces are really strong, right? So where exactly do you think, like how should it be distributed?
I think it's also dependent on like how your group's doing. Like if you're doing Baleroc and you're having challenges with your tanks living, you get your tanks. If you're clearing everything the first week somehow, you're not going to get your tanks. If you're having healing struggles in Alysrazor, give the healers some love. If you're not meeting a DPS check, you feed the DPS. I mean, I have my own ideas about feeding the DPS first as a priority, and then your tanks and healers, but it really just depends on you analyzing what your group needs and answering to those needs. But in terms of a DPS perspective, for the tokens, for Prot, I would go Warrior, Hunter, then Shaman. When I was simming, Warrior gained the most from the tier by far, switching from tier 11 to tier 12. For Conk, I went Warlock, and then Priest and Paladin are equal, because I saw Warlocks were gaining most early on in the tier, but later on it kind of leveled out, where they were pretty equal. And then for Vank, Mages scale the best. It's a Mage type of tier, so I would go Mage first, and then Rogue equals DK equals Druid, because they all were kind of the same. But Rogue and DK were a little bit higher than the Druid, but I just put it equal because at that point you get so many pieces, it doesn't really matter. You can feed them all.
Someone's saying you'll have 3,200 Valor on launch and then 4,800 by week 2, but I don't think you're going to have 3,200 at launch, right? You'll just have 6. Well,
so on the PTR, when you copy over a character, since it's in the first state, if you open your Valor right now on that character, if you have any Valor at all, it should say 1,600. I think that's the cap for the first week. And since we're going to have what's it gonna come out October 30th, right, or 29th, and then come out November 7th. So maybe we'll have 3,200 at the end if you max out your Valor for the first 2 weeks.
I see.
So
you'll have 3,200 going into your first clear, and then week 2, assuming that you cap before the second clear, you can have 4-piece if you get lucky with shoulders and helm.
Yeah, if you get really lucky. So the first week on that Tuesday, the first raid, you'll have 1,600 going into the raid. After that raid, you'll have 3,200, and then going to the second week of the raid, theoretically, you could have 4,800.
Right.
If that's how they're launching, how it operates right now. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, let's get into the sheet. Yeah. You want to start with Beth'tilac and go through the important items, and then today we're not going to do what we used to do and go through every single item, because there's a lot of items here that are just like, give it to the rogue, give it to the shaman, like that. Just like, it only makes sense for one class to get it, really. But if there's any interesting things that the boss drops, we are going to talk about them. Robes of Smoldering Devastation, pretty sleeper. Cowl of Clicking Menace.
Sleeper.
Yeah. Cinder Silk Gloves. Does anybody use that on an off piece?
Not that I'm aware of. No, that is not the off piece that they're using.
Cinder Web Leggings.
For balanced druids, I have the random roll shoulder, flickering shoulders of the fever flares. They're off piece. So
yeah, good luck with that. Firelands has the quirk that a lot of kata bosses have. The RNG items with the random suffix that Throne of the Four Winds has continues in Firelands. So there are going to be these like rare pure bis items that drop. They include the flickering shoulders, right? And then the Shannox, what is it again? The flickering shoulder pads. There's a bunch of them actually.
So fun fact about there's a random roll leather bracer, and rogues, feral druids, or DPS and feral druids that are tanks all want different suffixes. So at least there's no overlap there.
Flickering wristbands. So there's random shoulders and random wrists for every armor type, right?
No, not for every armor type. There's this one item off of, I think, every boss that has a random roll on it. That might be this.
Okay.
Some of them are wrists. One of them is
male shoulders.
Oh, the helm off of Lord Rhyolith.
Cloth helm.
Right there. Yeah, that wildfire helm is going to be a really good off piece if you can get that.
Flickering cowl of the wildfire. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of these pieces, like for example, what I just said, the Boomkin wants flickering shoulders as their off piece, but take a look at these Cinder Silk Gloves or this Cowl of Clicking Menace. At the end of the day, if you're doing this boss in Heroic and this drops for you, you can use this in the meantime while you're waiting. You'll get enough Valor and tier items eventually where you can just replace it, and a lot of the times the DPS differential isn't that much. You're not going to notice it. It's like a crit difference, like 40 to 50 DPS, which sounds like a lot, but we're in Cataclysm now where people are doing 35,000 DPS simmed, so that's a crit error.
Yeah, absolutely. So you take what you can get, and then if you're like building your loot list or whatever kind of loot system you have, put that pure bits in, but they give you this and you just kind of build around it until you can get what you want. There's a lot of loot in Firelands. I think it's going to be like tier 11, where as long as you're full clearing Heroic semi early on in the tier, you're going to get full bis. I don't think there's any question this time around whether or not you can get it. It's not like vanilla, where the person who gets DFT is the only one who's going to be full bis and everyone else is like waiting for the one thing. So hopefully.
Yeah,
and it's also because a lot of these bosses drop multiples of items. So like you can get 2 or 3 of something, which will just juice your raid even more if you get lucky, or you could low roll and get the thing that nobody wants, and that's always unfortunate. But so let's go back to Beth. Cinderweb Leggings. We're looking at Rogue over Druid. It's a good secondary bis off piece for Rogue.
Yeah, this is another one of those cases where it's not like the piece they want, but it's a decent piece for now. If you have 4 piece, and a lot of you should have enough Valor and tokens from your guild's full clearing, or just mostly clearing, you don't even need a full clear, where you could have 5 piece, get 5 piece now before Firelands comes out, and whatever off piece you get, just swap it on, and that's your new off piece until you can get the one that you want for later.
Solid, yeah. Okay. And so then Flickering Shoulders, which we were just talking about, who exactly might this be bis for if you get the right roll?
Just for Resto Druids and probably Boomkins. what I'd say, I mean, I also have for Resto Druids, they can use the Boomkin T12 gloves, but if you get a good roll of the shoulders, you can use those as well.
Okay. They look really cool. Whose tier is this? Hunter?
I think it's Druid tier.
That looks so cool.
Oh no, that's Hunter tier.
Okay.
I thought you were talking about the leather ones. Those
No, the
male
male
ones are the random roll bis for the hunters, I believe. They use the Flickering Shoulders of the Windstorm, and I think they're the only ones that want that a random roll of that variety. I don't think shamans want that, enhanced shamans.
It looks like shamans use all 5 pieces of tier. Okay.
Yeah.
So good luck, hunters.
Yeah, I've Windstorm, but if you get like Stormblast too, Stormblast is really, really good. I mean, that's like
Stormblast are good for hunters. Okay.
yeah.
All right, Thoracic Flame kill.
It's a male caster stuff, so Elise and Resto Shamans, have fun with your off piece.
It's nice that you actually bring shamans in Kata, because remember those male pieces used to be like trash, 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 and now it's actually people are going to use it. So
They're really good now.
yeah. Okay. Spalders of Manifold Eyes. These look like Baleroc shoulders. Cool.
Paladins, Gratz Paladins.
Holy Pally over the rest. Okay. Carapace of Imbibed Flame. Nice chest piece. Tank. Great. Arachna Flame Treads. Crit haste.
So I think almost all of the plate DPS want these boots, but a lot of the DKs have boots that aren't exactly well itemized. They just have a lot of strength. So when I was simming, it would favor them pretty well because the crit and haste helps them scale even better because they love their haste. So I put DPS DK first, and then Ret and arms being equal. If you have someone that somehow doesn't have the Chimeron boots, then just give them these and ignore this priority. But that's what I think for those. They're a very good piece, and they will be coveted.
All plate DPS use them. Yeah.
Yes.
Like it. Okay.
And blood DKs use them as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what I was reading.
Interesting. So DKs are already gearing for DPS. That's dope. Okay. Widow's Kiss, Agi Stam, Mastery Haste, Ring. I think this is probably pretty good.
All the Agi users, including like enhances and ferals and rogues and hunters, want it. I put bear first because it does have a very large amount of mastery that can help your bear tank mitigate even more. So I just threw them first. In terms of the damage difference between all of them, it was pretty equal across the board in what I was looking at. So it's definitely a pump or prio item, but I guess it's up to you to decide. Let me add enhance here as well.
Widow's Kiss. So you've got like 8 people per raid that need this. So let's hope 3 drop.
Yeah, you're definitely gonna want a lot of those.
And
as fast as
does
possible.
everybody use the other ring as the rep ring?
Yep, every single person of every single class in spec variety will be using their exalted ring from the raid, which is nice for itemization. But there are some ring woes that we will be highlighting later on some other bosses that are not very fun.
Love woes.
A little annoying.
All right.
Yeah, love woes.
First trinket, Big Pog. Spider Silk Spindle. Mastery. Equip melee attacks which reduce you below 35% health. Cause you to gain a protective shield which absorbs 20,000 damage for 30 seconds. Cannot occur more than once every minute.
It's a really good trinket. So you hopefully one of those drops for you.
I feel like you want to see 1 or 2 of these in your very first clear and then never again.
Yeah, it'll quickly be one of those items that you see it and then you have a phase of disgust and you're like, okay, well, why can't we get something useful like Widow's Kiss?
Like this would be great on Baleroc for the decimation strikes. Although I guess not because you have to top him off anyways. So maybe...
yeah, no, I don't. The flat mastery is what makes it really good, I think. Okay. The shield proc on Baleroc, I don't think is
fair enough.
useful.
You're right. I wasn't thinking. Okay.
Oh, you were thinking.
I was thinking poorly. All right. Mandible of Beth'tilac, the first weapon. It looks cool as shit.
This is like a tank weapon, but if your tank still want it, like you don't have a prot warrior or prot paladin, like it's solid for like a fury warrior or frosty K. You know, those one-handers deserve some love as well.
Dodge is nice on there. Funeral Pyre, caster staff.
Funeral Pyre is weird. I mean, everybody that plays a caster hopes they get like a rag weapon or like a legendary, right? But not everyone's gonna get that. And there's a lot of stabs in Firelands, unlike in previous tier where there was like no stabs at all that were useful. And this is a solid weapon, but I would just give it to someone that you know isn't gonna get a rag weapon or a one-hand or offhand. Like, so if you want to be that
one
guy,
of
and
those
just
weapons that like you don't want because it means you're not getting the other thing first.
yeah. I mean, I
Would this be
a mage not getting legendary? Like that's an okay weapon for them.
This would be a good item to give to the guy who's getting the legendary because they're not going to get it right away.
That's true.
And the
That's a very
rag
good
staff could go to, you know, the guy that's not getting the legendary. So
yeah, exactly.
maybe don't doom so hard. I mean, you already know if you're getting the orange staff, but maybe week 1 don't give it to that guy, but you know, week 2 or 3, who knows?
Agreed.
All right, demo mastery set for this 256 mastery.
Yeah, I mean that could be useful mastery snapshot weapon. The rag one's the best mastery snapshot weapon for demo, but I think that one's better than the one that we currently use, which is off of Alphas.
Okay, gotcha. So I guess it's a baby one until you get the big one. Ward of the Red Widow, Stamina, Spirit, Haste.
All the shamans and paladins want this. I just recommend going DPS and then healer because the DPS checks in Firelands are really tight. If you're having healer issues, give it to the healer.
Solid. It could look better, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think it looks cool. It looks neat.
It looks like a Bastion of Twilight shield, not a Fireland shield. Okay, Lord Rhyolith, Dreadfire Cape.
So this is the item that I was talking about earlier that all the Agi users want, like entirely. It has 2 red sockets. It's really good. I heard this item has very strong longevity, even going beyond Firelands into Dragon Soul. And I heard that since melee don't have their own kind of cloak this tier, that even like Ret Paladins and DKs could be going for this cloak at the end of the day. But I didn't include them for obvious reasons. It's an Agi cloak. And the Feral Druid and the Rogues with the secondaries that this cloak has scale better, so I put them first. Because Enhances and Hunters don't really have as much of contention besides like secondary items such as like rings as well. So I just threw the Rogues and Ferals a bone here because that haste is really nice for both of them. Yeah, it's a really, really strong item, so hopefully you get a bunch of these.
And then what's the caster cloak issue? I know we mentioned it briefly, but
The caster cloak just kind of sucks.
it's off
It just has-
Alysrazor?
It just has weird secondaries that most casters don't really care about, and the Sinestro cloak has a socket and is itemized a lot better for us.
There's also no sockets on the caster cloak. It's so weird.
Yeah, I don't know what they were really initially thinking when they designed this item. I mean, it's great if you're an Agi user, like you're real hype. I mean, 2 red sockets and an insane bonus, like I'll take that all day.
Yeah. Okay. Flickering Cowl, another one of those random suffix items.
Yeah, I mean, I think the off-piece mages would gun for in an ideal world before Rag is the Wildfire Helm. So hopefully you get that suffix to drop. Otherwise, it just most of the cloth casters just want the gloves off Rag. So it's going to be one of those pieces that people get sick of seeing very quickly as well.
You're also going to get a bad roll on it 9 times out of 10, so...
Yeah, Fever Flash.
Yeah. A Hood of Rampant Disdain, Haste Expertise.
That,
Rogue
I heard
Druid.
sub-rogues might use it, but it's another one of those pieces that, like, if someone wants to use it, just give it to them.
Yeah. Incendic Chest Guard, Spirit Haste, Int.
Grats Druids.
Gratch Druids. Tree equals Boomy. Flaming Core Chest Guard, Male Hit Crit Agi, 2 sockets.
Enhances and Hunters both use their tier chests, so
Okay.
if somebody wants this, just give it to them.
And then don't give them the tier token for a while.
Yeah, like let them use this as their off piece and
Yep.
wait until later.
Lava Line Wristbands, Int Spirit Haste.
I think this is the BIS for both Ellie and the Resto, I believe. Lava Line wristbands. Just went with the classic DPS over healer for this one for prog orientation.
Yeah, we go Ellie. Earthcrack bracers. These are really good, right?
Yeah, those are an extremely good item. Similar to the Arachnid Flame Treads, these are also haste crit. So I went the same exact Prio with DPS DK getting it first, then arms equals red.
Stream as we speak, and I compared it to the
There's gonna be a lot of DKs, and DKs are probably the girthiest, proggiest class in the entire game, just because of the power of being able to AMS through mechanics and live through everything.
I just wanted to let you know how much we
that's just how I broke down Earthcrack bracers. At the end of the day, it is a pair of bracers, so they don't make that much of a difference in your overall damage kit.
Okay. We just had Morgan Freeman bomb us, so we're okay. Fire skin gauntlets.
Another one of those pieces that could be used as an off piece, or whoever just like really needs hit. So they're not that good.
These are the foreskin gauntlets pretty quickly, I bet. Grips of the Raging Giant. Int Spirit
Paladins.
Crit. Congratulations, Holy Paladins.
Oh yeah.
Cracked Obsidian Stompers. Grats tanks. Heartstone of Rhyolith. Int Spirit Mastery. What a weird item.
Yeah, it's like one of those wave crest secondaries, and anybody that can use Spirit for hit and maybe the Mastery, you can give it to a DPS that needs the hit, who never really got like a really good random roll item off Alakir, but every caster wants the same neck, this Flowform Choker, DPS and healers.
Where does Flowform Choker drop?
It is off of Domo.
Domo. There it is. Oh yeah, Mastery, Socket, plus Haste. Yes, please.
Yeah, everybody wants that, so
Yep.
you can use this in the meantime.
Okay. Then we've got Volcano Spike, hit, haste, spell power, sword.
This is a very good weapon to replace like Incineratus, which is most casters are using right now in their one hand, so mages and locks. If you know that you're not getting the legendary staff and you want to maintain your main hand offhand and not really want a staff because you don't like the itemization of it, then you grab this. I put them as equal prio because not like some of the casters are going to want this like different stabs. Like, I don't know, someone will take Funeral Pyre in the meantime as a mage, and then they won't want Volcano Spike, for example. But that's a very good weapon that I'm probably going to gun for that in the meantime, because eventually, hopefully, my guild gives me a staff. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, and then the crossbow, Gratz crossbow.
Yeah, Gratz crossbowers.
All right, Alysrazor. You want to do Shannox first? Let's do Shannox. Coal Walker sandals. These look very good for disc.
Those are really good. That I don't think disc uses. Oh, they do use them. They do. Let me add healers to that priority. I don't think I even added them there.
How dare you ignore us? We are a...
It's okay. They're there. They're just last. I put... These are a big hit crit item. So there's a crafted pair of boots that are 378 with hit crit on them. So I don't think the boot upgrade is absolutely insane, but I did put mages first. And I'm just going to change this now. And then put locks and shut up priests like kind of equal prio for second, and then healers. I just want to see how fast these mages are scaling, because obviously the fights that mages are very strong and comfortable at, like Alysrazor, they're going to melt that boss once they get more gear.
Yeah,
so
it's going to be fun to see him die by the end of the first extinguish.
Yeah, and like the locks and the Shadow Priest more want haste anyway, so the itemization is a lot better for them, and I'm not biased towards mages in any way.
Definitely not. All right. Flickering shoulder pads. This is the one you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, those are the...
Balance Druid.
Yeah, Balance Druid and Resto Druid. Random roll off piece, we love those. Hopefully you fish what you want. Resto Druids, I also saw that they can use a 5th piece of tier, but the Boomkin version of the gloves, because I think that's Spirit Haste, which itemizes very well for them, so either or.
Okay. And then you'll see like 9 rolls that you hate, and that'll just be an L item. Gloves of Dissolving Smoke.
So these are pretty cool. Ferals and bears use these, so you should give it to them first, and then give it to your rogue if they want them. These are itemized, really cool. Very well.
Agistam crit mastery and 1 socket. Agistam crit. Yeah, I did. Okay.
Big feral.
Scalp of the Bandit Prince.
It's not a Bissoff piece. If someone wants to use it, just give it to them. In the meantime, if you get one for Prague, have your 5-piece T11, take off 1 piece, put this on. There you go.
Also, you have to look like a hunter. Treads of Implicit Obedience. There's a lot of hunter items.
Yeah,
I guess not actually.
That's an Ellie Shaman one, I think.
Yeah.
And both of them use that in this.
Spirit crit.
Yeah, it's just DPS over healer.
Yep. Bracers of the Dread Hunter.
Paladins.
Gratz Paladins. Uncrushable Belt of Fury. Is this the belt?
Yeah, this is a belt. So I put Rets first on this because in some of the sims and things I was reading, the warriors and the DPS DKs were still using a random roll Alakir belt, and then some were using. There's a belt you get from Reputation that is really good, but in all the places I was reading, Rets are only using this item, and that might change. But throw the Rats a bone, let them have the mastery and expertise, and crank off that.
You have DKs with the Sky Strider belt. Is that the old one?
That is the new one. That's the one off Alakir, I believe. That might not be.
Maybe we have to update it.
The Sky Strider belt. Yeah, that is the one off of Alakir, or the random throne roll. That's the most up-to-date one from the sim that I saw.
Okay. Maybe we can double check that. The sheet will get updated over time as the new sims come in. We expect PTR to have tier and trinkets and the legendary staff soon. They're going to put them on there. So once they are and the sims get updated, we're going to go back in, tune the sheet to reflect the data. But for now, this is what we got. Okay. So Shannox, Crushable Belt of Fury, we're going Ret, you said?
Yeah, Ret, cool. And then since Warrior seems to be updated to have Uncrushable Belt, I just put them equal to, actually.
Cool. Leg plates of Absolute Control, Gratz Paladins. Leg plates of Frenzied Devotion, Gratz Tank. Necklace of Fetishes. Ooh, this seems good.
This is a really good item. I think all the strength users want this. Arms Warrior, Ret Paladin, both types of DKs. So yeah. I know the DKs are currently using the Sinestra neck in their BIS because it has the most strength possible. So that secondary set they have, which is dodge, is pretty dead stat. So I gave it to them first.
Solid, okay. And you're probably bringing a lot of DKs in like a perfect raid comp. So you want to try to juice them as quick as you can. Crystal Prison Band seems decent.
This is one of the designs I was talking about earlier where we have like a ring woes, and this is one of them. This is the only caster item besides the one from the Reputation, so every single caster is going to want this in their secondary, and I think almost all the healers are going to want this. Every single healer is going to want this as well, I think. Actually, no, only one of them, just the rest of Druid.
Yeah,
but every single caster is going to want it, so.
Okay. Hope you get a bunch.
Yeah, it's... there's like no statistical difference between any of them either giving it to somebody. Like, it's all 150 to 200 DPS for all of them replacing the ring.
Gotcha. Goblet of Anger.
This is a Spirit Haste offhand. I mean, give it to a healer, probably,
Disc
over DPS. Yeah, I mean, you can give it to a DPS, like a... I don't know, maybe an Ellie Shaman if they don't want a shield, or Shadow Priest, or a Boomkin if they're using the offhand. But I think healers use this in their Trubis, so I mean, you could give it to them instead. Because
our Trubis is the staff, sir, and you're giving it to all of us.
Yeah, you're truly gonna get the Rag Hammer and probably gonna like it for a long time.
Okay. Skull Stealer Great Axe.
There's 2 weapons besides the Ragnaros two-hander. The Skull Stealer Great Axe, and then there's a random drop one called Zoe's Firelit Greatsword. And this one gave to warriors and Rets over Unholy DKs, and the sister item, the Zoid's Firelit Greatsword, to Unholy's first, because the Firelit Greatsword is haste crit, and Unholy gets more from that than the other two, and I think this Great Axe is Mastery crit. So haste, they all just want the Rag weapon.
Mastery.
It's kind of like last year where people were getting the mace off of Magma and the axe off of Cho'Gall. They were like, "Ah, I want the Nef weapon," and it never drops. So you'll be using these for a while. So get comfy.
Like warriors want 2 sulfuruses, right? They're not unique, and then rep pallies want it, DKs want it. So there's a lot of people in contention. So you just try to pick up what you can get beforehand, and then wait your turn.
Yeah, even if it's not itemized perfectly, like if you get offered Skull Steel or Great Axe as like an Unholy DK, like you take that. It's still a weapon.
Arms
upgrade.
is only 1, yeah. Furies 2, I guess. Fair enough. Feeding Frenzy. Dagger. Gratz Rogues.
Gratz Rogue.
Rogues Gratz. And then Alysrazor, we've got Wings of Flame, which we talked about already as kind of the shitty caster cloak that you wish was better.
I wish it was better.
Leggings of Billowing Fire, crit haste. Does anybody use this as an off piece?
It could be an off piece for someone, but it's not crazy.
Okay, unfortunate. Crit haste seems decent. Flickering wristbands. This seems good if you're lucky.
Yeah, that's the random roll leather off piece. All the leather users want it. The leather Agi users. I don't think the Druids want it. They have a decent pair of bracers that drop for them. The Resto Druids and the Boomkins, called Glowing Wing Bracers. So they don't have to worry about the random roll, but all the others do.
So yeah, you're going to want a lot of those. Phoenix Down Treads, great reference to Final Fantasy.
Yeah, Gratz Druids. These are good. I think they both use it.
Gratz Druids, balance first. Crater Flame Spalders.
There's Crater Flame Spalders and Crater Claw Shaper Gauntlets. They're not crazy. I mean, they could be used as an off piece, but Shamans just use tier. So give it to whoever wants it.
Okay.
Might want to use this or off piece.
Toss it to somebody.
Yeah,
it's just so awkward because you're going to get so many off pieces and you just can't break your 4 set. So it's like, especially the first couple weeks, you're just kind of in a weird spot.
You can itemize around it in the meantime because the Shaman, this off piece is off of Rag. It's Crown of Flame.
I see.
So if you have someone that's pushing their dream aside for Prog, take one of these for now. Yeah, I mean, still, it's a good item.
All right, Claw Shaper Gauntlets, same boat. Ellie over the others. Molten Feather Leggings. Oh my god, look at these Organ leggings. Ugh.
These are good for enhance as like an off piece. So that's about it.
Okay. Great Helm of the Voracious Maw, Mastery Crit.
Give it to your Arms Warrior. It's the off piece that they are hunting for. As of right now.
Arms over red.
All right, yeah, arms over everybody.
It looks cool. Spalders of Recurring Flame, Gratz Tanks. Clutch of the Fire Mother. Stam Int Spirit, Gratz Paladins. Lava Worm Leg Plates.
These go to the Unholy DK. I believe it is the current off piece that they are using. You're going to want a few of these because you'll probably have more than one Unholy.
Yeah, the Unholy DKs use these. That's nice because nobody else wants these, so that's good. Okay, solid. Flame Talon of Alysrazor.
The mount. I was like looking for it on the sheet. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm on the other side of my wife. That obviously goes to your Pumper Warlock. Anybody else, you might as well just DE it.
Fair enough. Okay. Alysrazor's band. Mount is Raid Leader Girlfriend Prio. Sean knows. Strength Stam, Red Socket, Haste, Expertise. Seems really good.
I mean, it's similar to the Crystal Prison situation earlier. All the strength users want it. And just give it to your Pumper or someone who hasn't really gotten a lot yet that is a good player, because there wasn't a large difference in what I was seeing. These are like maybe 50 DPS between all three of them replacing what they currently have to this. So it's tough because the way that I was simming is I sim in the current gear and plug and play. I sim like half BIS and plug and play, and then like full BIS and plug the old one and then the new one to get an array of numbers. And if it's all like the same, then there's not much I could do with it.
Sure.
But cool. maybe it interacts with like tier bonuses in a different way that could change something.
But everybody wants it. So it's one of those, I feel like this is one of those like, hey, we appreciate you. Here's a ring early that no one else is going to get because it's rare and a lot of people want it. I have blazing power. Oh my god, a healing trinket.
Yeah, I'd eat it, honestly. I mean, I would give it to the Disc Priest first, because the other caster or the other healers have another trinket. But honestly, I don't think the healing trinkets this tier are extraordinary.
Yeah.
They're kind of...
Healing trinkets in general have been pretty meh in Kata so far, so...
Yeah, well, they're... I mean, Fall Mortality is really good.
That's true, but a shard is kind of underwhelming because of them not changing.
Yeah.
So...
I mean, I have blazing power as I have snoozing power to me, so just give it to whoever wants it, I guess.
Rude. Alysrazor's Razor.
It's a lame trinket. It's a dagger. Just give it to the rogue.
Congrats, rogue. Is this their offhand, main hand?
It's one of them. I think it might be the offhand. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we're done with the first four. We're cooking with gas. Good job. We have 45 minutes. Baleroc, the Gatekeeper, the first kind of wall you're gonna face. I would guess that this is the second to last boss that you do on heroic. You'll get Majordomo down on heroic before you get Baleroc down. So this gear is going to be like an order of magnitude harder to get for most guilds. You will get it eventually, but this stuff's a bit higher value as we go. Mantle of Closed Doors.
This is a solid off piece if you want to give up your Ragnaros dream, but that's about it.
Purple.
That's yeah. I mean, that's it.
Mastery crit. All right. Shoulder pads of the Forgotten Gate.
They're not a best piece for either of the leather guys, so if somebody wants it, just give it to them.
Yeah, fair enough. Breastplate of the Incendiary Soul. Agi Mastery, 2 sockets with a socket bonus of 20 Agi and haste. Seems good.
That's the rogue off piece, so give it to them.
Does anybody else use it?
Some classes 4-piece might not be that large for them, so if you are okay taking like 2-piece in the meantime, you could probably do a lot more with the gear here than just assuming everybody's going to be 4-piece. But I didn't really sim just people using 2 pieces and what that looks like, but keep that in mind when you're building your own character.
All right. Well, rogues will be happy. Glowing Wing Bracers. Stam Haste. Or Spirit Haste.
Both druids. This is the wrist piece for
okay.
for both of them.
Solid. Yeah. Gatekeeper's Embrace, Int Spirit Mastery, 2 sockets.
Yeah, I mean it's another Wave Crest-esque item, so you just give it to the male people. Congrats, male people.
It's a male robe. It's not common you see a male robe. Is it a male robe?
I mean, I wear robes all the time. I don't. There's nothing wrong with males wearing robes.
I never said there was. Wait, is it a male robe or is it my thing fucked?
It's a robe.
Decimation Shreds.
So the hunters and the enhances want this. I don't know how many guilds are running enhances, but they were almost equal in damage difference, but you're probably running a lot of hunters, so I guess toss it to your hunters and fill them out pretty quickly.
All right.
Hunter,
then Shaman, solid. Cask of Flame. This looks cool. Except if you're a Morgan, it does not look cool, let me tell you.
There's not a lot of gear that looks good in Morgans, I fear.
Helm of Blazing Glory.
Helm of Blazing Glory.
Tank,
That's tank, yeah.
Flickering Handguards. Ooh, a random glove plate.
I don't think that's exactly the best off piece for any of the melee, so you guys
You're just bummed
dodge
if you
the bullet.
See it. Yeah,
you just dodge
you
the bullet.
You don't really want these if you can help it, because it's just fucking awful. All right, a real trinket, Necromantic Focus.
Well, all of the casters want the Rag Trinket and Darkmoon Card Volcano in their setup, and they're almost all going to be using Bell and Volcano in the meantime until you get the Rag Trinket. I didn't see many classes or discussion of many classes that could use this trinket very well, but maybe the Ellie and the Shadow Priest could do something with it. Maybe a healer could do something with it. But if you have someone interested in trying it out and are okay taking a back seat to the Rag Trinket because you're proccing, give this to them. It's a weird trinket with static int and then a illustration-esque mastery.
Yeah, it's 440 mastery and 433 int, pretty much.
It's a weird trinket, and you can't reforge that int to hit. So when a trinket doesn't have a reforgeable secondary, it has to be really good to use it. Like Thoralian's Mirror is a good example of a trinket that can be swapped in and worked around. So it's a weird one.
All right. Molten Scream, stam int hit crit.
Yeah, if you're getting the like a staff or like if you get a volcano spike, you should probably get a molten scream to go along with it. In the meantime, that's about it. Like if you are not getting a staff, just try to put in for this.
We also like to give like main hands and off hands out at the same time if you can. You know what I mean? Because it feels bad to get like a main hand at 391 and then have like a 372 offhand. So
yeah, yeah, agreed.
Versus just like a staff that does all of it for you and the thing. All right, Gatecrasher, a weapon.
Gatecrasher, the enhances want 2 of them. If they're orcs, I believe. So you give that to them. If the enhances are Draenei, they're going to want the Shattered Skull one-handed maces. I think those might be random drops. So Shattered Skull Bone Crusher.
Is that the shared? Yeah, I see it.
Yeah.
Okay. So we want orc shamans to have Gatecrashers and nobody else. So this item sucks. Who could it go to like a DK or like what?
I guess. I mean, not really. It has Agi on it, but like if they're down bad, if they're literally down horrendous in the trenches, sure.
Sure.
Oh, I think Combat Rogue uses it as their main hand as well.
Oh, fair enough. All right, solid. Okay.
I forgot I added that later.
Very good. Okay. Shard of Torment. Tank shield, Gratz. Also does not look that great. I mean, it looks fine. It's just not that big. Okay, that's Baleroc. We got 2 left, and then some shared loot and trash mobs. Majordomo Staghelm. Wrist wraps of Arrogant Doom.
All the clothies want it.
That thing's incredible. Holy moly.
Yeah.
Let
me add healers to this too.
This is a juiced bracer for me.
Yeah, Gratz healers being really high up in Prio.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Firecat leggings. I wonder who these are for. Not the Firecats.
Yeah, not the Firecats. I mean, they're like just give to whoever wants.
All right, nobody. Sandals of Leaping Coals. Agi Stam Mastery Crit.
Although leather agility users want it, so I'd probably go DPS over tank for this. Although your bear will probably use it for a very long while. But that's a very good item.
Yeah, that's their best for a while.
Yeah.
Grips of Unerring Precision. Agi Stam Mastery Haste. Mail Gloves.
Both use tier gloves, so it doesn't matter. It's whoever wants.
Okay. And you'll get the 378 tier gloves from Valor, so this is probably a pretty low prio. Because you probably don't want to use this and then break your 4-piece if you have it by then. Breastplate of Shifting Visions. Strength Stam Mastery Haste.
This is a weird one. The Frosty K's use this in their Absolute Bis, and so do the Ret Paladins. So I put them first. But also, I saw that Blood DKs are using this as their Bis off piece. So I just put DPS over tank over the other 2 if they want it. Because the last 2 use tier.
Solid. So you want a bunch of these, pretty much.
Yeah. You want a few of them.
This is a good item. All right.
I don't know how many people are running Frosty K, but Frosty K is really cool in Firelands. So if you're thinking about it, try it out.
It's not. Be unholy. AMZ is too good. Bracers of the Fiery Path. Plate Strength Stam Mastery Parry. Gratz Tanks. Treads of the Penitent Man. Gratz Paladins. All right. Flowform Choker. Hit me with a Flowform Choker, Prio Pum.
DPS over healers. Everybody wants it.
That's it. Come on.
I mean, yeah. It's just hard when like these off pieces like wrists and rings and neck and cloak, unless there's a major difference like the Drapefire cloak from earlier where it has 2 sockets, that it has actual meaningful impact on the sim. At this point in time with the gear that we have, it's all very, very similar. So when you have an item like this where every single person wants it, all casters and all healers, well, maybe some want to use Heartstone of Rhyolith, but, you know, Flowform Choker is just a really good item. So you just hope a bunch of those drop.
Like, how does it fit into like a loop council? Like
if I saw this item and I saw someone put in, at this point in the raid, you have a bunch of gear, so you can make some gearing options with the people who are good players but just didn't get anything, or someone who is playing like okay, but you want to see like what they can do. You can give them this item. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a neck. It's not one of the important items, as I said before. So you have some leeway as a council to use the item to make people happy and not be corrupt about it.
Sure. All right, big item, Flowform Choker. The Hunger.
So I did a lot of simming with this, and the Hunger is essentially the trinket you have now. Like, what is the one off of Rag? The Pressers, but better. It's a little bit better. And all of the agility users, rogues, ferals, and hunters all want this. I don't think Enhance wants this. They were all between 340 to 450 DPS from the trinket, so none of them stood out, so I just put them all as equal. If there's a class that's getting almost like 50% more than something else, then I'll put that a little bit ahead, because that's actually meaningful. But when it's like this, and assuming every single person that is getting this item is doing their perfect, absolute perfection rotation, never missing a global, absolute best latency, like that's not possible. So it's all the same, and just give it to someone that is doing good damn, and hopefully you get a few.
I feel like trinkets are, like, people love trinkets. They always feel exciting. So I always love to give it to somebody who I'm like, hey, great job. You're killing it.
Yeah. Yeah, in World of Warcraft, your weapons and trinkets are the most meaningful. And then, like, tier. It's period. Every tier ever.
Okay. The Hunger, good. Jaws of Defeat.
Yeah, it's some, like, healer item, I think. I actually don't know how good this is, because no one could really explain to me how good it was. And Holy Paladins, Druids, and Resto Shamans all want this.
Yeah, I think it's Holy Pally Prio. Already in Kata, from my experience, outside of Prog, you're very rarely running out of mana if you do a good job of managing things. So trinkets that don't increase throughput but only make your mana better kind of feel shitty, personally. This is one of those. I guess the Holy Paladins struggle the most, right? But
yeah.
Then explain the Cho'Gall trinket. I mean, I'm just saying they all feel bad. Cormulus. Good for speedruns? Yeah, if you're dropping healers, then these become much higher value. On fights like Rag or Baleroc, honestly, as disc, I struggle a lot for mana, and this would be really good for that, but I'm not going to get this as disc, so it's fine. I also feel like I'm not playing that fight perfectly, so yeah, Baleroc is tough. Okay, Vandrel's Flame Scythe. We're giving it to hunters, right?
Yeah, of course. Hunter Prio. Just look at the note. It says everything.
Yeah, this item, the stats don't matter. It's too cool not to give it to the feral, so you give it to the feral.
It says Firecat for those who can't read.
Yeah,
that's all you need to know.
Yeah. All right. Oh, a wand. Forgot this was a thing. It's just a smaller version of the staff.
Yeah, so most of the casters want Trail of Embers, and then the healers want Scorchvine wand. So I put this for Demologs first because there's not that many wands, and you could reforge some of the crit into hit, and it helps the mastery snapshot. So it's not that big of a deal.
Lock Mage Priest. All right, solid. When do wands go away? What expansion?
I don't know. Hopefully soon. I hate those little things.
Do you ever wand anymore?
No.
I do it sometimes. It's a waste. I should. But
if I want to like AFK during a wipe, I'll wand. That's like about it.
People are saying mop. They go away. So there you go. You got one more raid tier with it, and then we can stop talking about wands. All right. Now on to the big man himself, Ragnaros. These are the big chase items, all of the eye level for the items that drop off rag outside of tier are 397, which is 6 over the other tier items, kind of like Sinestro loot. Keep in mind, you probably aren't going to get rag early on, so that where these go, like, you beat the game. So it doesn't really matter ultimately where these go outside of just making your farm raids easier, right? So I think that keeping that in mind where you award these is like, hey, thanks for being great, showing up every week, putting that extra work in, all that stuff. Exactly. It's just end game stuff. And some of this stuff you're going to be using long into Dragon Soul. So, all right.
I want to reiterate what you just said. At this point, if you've killed this boss and you see this loot, this priority is a lot less meaningful. So take all of this, as always, in a grain of salt.
Yeah, exactly. It's parse loot. Give it to people that you know aren't going to quit, a month into Firelands. Give it to people that have put in work for you, all that stuff. All right. Fingers of Incineration.
I'm assuming guilds predominantly have a lot of mages, so I went with mages as the priority here, and then Lox and Shadowpree sharing it because this is a crit haste piece, and mages get a lot from the haste and crit, and they scale the best between those three classes. And no, it's not mage bias, it's just reality.
Don't give it a crack quit, so we're good. All right, so mages on the Fingers of Incineration. I like it. How much crit do mages need to quote unquote come online with their combusts?
I mean, I don't want to offend the mage community, but mages essentially need full bis and all the externals, a bunch of innervates, and maybe some cheerleaders behind them for them to crit, and then they'll be online.
Okay. All right, another caster item. Majordomo's Chain of Office.
For major, I mean, this belt statistically, again, with a lot of these off-piece items, they are pretty statistically the same in what I was looking at. For mage, lock, and S-priest, I think I should probably add healer there too, because I added the healer prize a little bit afterwards, so I would just go DPS over healer.
That's my bis, Pum. You forgot about me.
Yeah, I mean, I have something to say, but I'm not going to say it.
All right. Notice there's no leather items on Rag, so leather wears... You will care about something, but not this. Crown of Flame.
Shamans want this as their off-piece, both Resto and Ellie. So typically I go DPS over healer, and I know a lot of people have more than one Ellie Shaman in their guild, because it's a pretty solid class for Prog and Firelands, and I think the Ellie Shaman tier is very interesting. So Gratz Shamans.
Gratz Shamans. It's also a unique graphic. All the gear on him is unique looking, I think.
Very cool
Maybe
looking.
not the gloves, but the helmet. Pauldrons of Roaring Flame. Gratz tanks.
Gratz tanks. I think some of them use this as their off-piece, which is cool.
Prot warriors
best
and
off-piece.
prot paladins.
Yeah.
Now for the real shit. Choker of the Vanquished Lord.
Similar to Widow's Kiss, because of the mastery, I went bear first. Talking about it out loud though, it doesn't really make sense, because this is a boss that you give it to your bear if you want a more comfortable reclear and your tank's dying.
That's
maybe
a
your
good point.
healer's letting you
That's a
down.
good point. You've already healed the
Otherwise-
tanks to success, so why do you need to heal them better?
Otherwise, there's some pretty very similar results between all of every single Agi user wants it, Hunter, Rogue, Feral, Enhance, so you get some friends, I guess, and hopefully they give you the choker.
This is one of those items that gold is exchanged under the table.
Yeah. Let the loot council feel the reign of your gold.
All right. Now for the real shit. Matrix Restabilizer.
So this trinket is a little bit different than the hunger, because when I was looking at Sims, I had enhanced
Sniper
against
Dow
most
with
from
the
this.
tier 1.
They
Thanks,
had almost
bud.
1,000 DPS from Matrix Restabilizer, and then Rogue, Feral, and Hunter got 600 to 650. I don't know many people
good
that
number.
are running enhanced. I mean, 1,000 DPS versus 600 to 650 that's a large amount, and it warrants talking about it. There's not a lot of enhances, so it doesn't really matter that much in the long run to, I'd say, 90% of the guilds that are looking at this. So in all reality, it's going to be Rogue equals Feral equals Hunter. there's gonna be a lot of hunters that are gonna be in this tier because they're really, really good on Rag. So if I had to choose between the three, I would lean towards Hunter first.
So does Chad apparently, but we'll see.
I mean, yeah, it's a sad reality, but I mean, I gotta mention them because if I don't mention them, like they'll be sending some dastardly messages in my DMs and will make me very upset. So.
Dastardly, all right. Your melee and ranged attacks have a chance to grant you 1834 crit, haste, or mastery for 30 seconds, whichever is currently the highest.
Yeah, I mean that's insane for hunters.
Yeah.
I mean it's insane for all of them, but 600, 650 DPS is statistically significant for any class at a minimum. So.
Yep. All right. We spoke about this briefly before the podcast started, but variable pulse lightning capacitator.
So
Capacitor.
This is a hard one, and I had to take my bias out of it. But if I
I hope you did that for all of these.
Oh, I did for all of these, but this trinket in particular, I have insane bias for my Warlock as a priority because Warlocks are farming the Moonbow Chalice, and the trinket is almost unusable without it. But if I have to take my bias completely out of it, then it would be Pumpers, probably Ellie Shamans, and Fire Mages first over everybody else.
Yeah, maybe don't give this to your legendary staff, their first legendary staff guy. You know, spread the love a little bit. If you're giving your first legendary staff to an Ellie Shaman, maybe don't give it to him. Maybe give it to a Warlock or maybe a Balance Druid.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because, I mean, it's an insane trinket if you kill Rag when it doesn't matter. I mean, Gally's going to come and assault me in DMs now. And see, this is exactly why I can't say anything. But, like, I would give it to Warlocks
Luke,
first.
thank you for the tier 1.
Council, but
bitch.
non-Warlocks would get pissed at saying that. So, grats Ellie Shamans and Mages. I'll just cry in my corner.
Sure. Okay. Grats Warlocks and Ellie Mage. Ellie Mages? What did you say?
Yeah, grats Ellie Mage, Warlock, Priest.
Ellie Mage, Warlock, Priest.
Yeah.
Disc Priest. All right.
I mean, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry.
Vessel of Acceleration. Strength equip grants 92 crit for 20 seconds each time you deal a melee crit, stacking up to 5 times.
So this is probably one of the few times where almost all of the strength users have different BIS trinkets. It's very interesting. Like Ret Paladins I saw Apparatus and Heart of Rage, Arms Warrior, Apparatus and Vessel, Unholy DK. The Sim says Heart of Solace and Heart of Rage, but instead of Heart of Solace, you can use Vessel, I saw, or I was reading somewhere. And then Frost DK is using Apparatus and Heart of Rage. So almost all of them are different combinations besides Ret and Frost DK. So because the Ret and the Frost DK weren't using it, I put Arms and Unholy first. They might use it later down the line, but I'd probably, between the Arms and Unholy, I'd probably put the Arms first. Because Unholy can still use
Unholy doesn't even have it on their BIS list.
Pretty sure I have, yeah, I'm just saying because instead of Heart of Solace, like they could use it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, Fury is...
So we go Warrior.
Yeah, you could add Fury in there at the end if you really want. But, you know, the 6 Fury Warriors will be really angry if I don't include them.
Fair enough. All right. Smoldering Eye of Milligazer. Grats pet users. That's going to be good in pet battles and mop. Fantastic. Kogun, the Disc Priest Prio Mace, yeah?
This is Boomkin Prio.
What?
I put equal Prio, but
what?
Boomkins as Priest and Ellies that aren't getting the legendary, this is a really good one-hander for them.
What?
Oh, it's right there, man.
After all I've done for you.
All right, it's actually DPS over healers over Jordy. Priority.
It's okay, I'll buy it. It's fine. All right, Haste, Spirit, Spell Power seems pretty good. Also,
Yeah,
I feel like it could look cooler, but whatever. I'm not gonna. All right, Sulfurous.
Like warriors get the most out of any weapon upgrade in terms of two-hander, so I put them first. Similar to how the Nef Sword went, the Unholies shouldn't get this before the warriors and the Rats, in my opinion. So you're gonna be lucky to see a bunch of them at the end of the day. It hits like a truck. Obviously, it's a really big upgrade for the Unholies. I understand that, but it's not bigger than what the warriors and Rats are gonna get out of it. So.
Warrior, at least most of them only want one, which is nice. So you have Ret, Unholy Warrior.
Most of them?
I mean, you're not...
All of them.
Well, Fury Warriors exist, but whatever.
I mean, if I see a Fury Warrior walk around with 2 Sulfurous, I'm gonna screw.
Okay. Show Ravan, Great Staff of Annihilation.
I mean, every single caster wants the staff, right? If you're not getting the staff, you're gonna want this in the meantime. So, good risk. I mean, this is also the best Mastery Snapshot staff if you have Mastery Snapshotters. So if nobody wants to give it to them, but yeah, Boomkin's a really good person to give this to. Also mages, also priests, also warlocks.
Make a poll for some of these for Prio. I don't think that's how it works.
Make a poll for Prio, yeah. I mean, chat's probably just gonna vote for Boomkin, so I'm down for Boomkins to get this one.
All right. Show Ravan. And then Arathar, Eye of Flame, never blinking, ever burning.
Yeah, this is Rogue Prio actually. JK, it's just Scratch Hunters.
Cool looking bow. Reminds me of Sauron. Why would I want the Walmart staff?
I mean, I don't think that's a Walmart staff. It's a really good item.
Still seems good. 397. It's not as good.
I'm gonna beg for that in the meantime.
Yeah. All right. Let's burn through the last bit.
Oh yeah.
Avul's Legendary Shanker. This is Rogue Biss, right?
Yeah, I think it's for
Assassination.
Assassination.
Yeah. Entrail Disgorger.
Yeah.
Nobody uses it, but grats.
Yeah, rogues if they're down bad.
Firethorn Mind Slicer seems solid.
I mean, it's okay. It's like you could replace your T11 one-handers with this. It's not crazy, but I'd probably give it to a mage first if they want to use one-handers because there's grit on it, I think. Otherwise,
looks
just like,
cool.
Yeah.
Zoids, we talked about this earlier. Damn, this thing looks cool. This is like the start of them outlining items. You know what I mean? It has that purple little border.
Yeah, that weapon is sick, actually. And if I was in Holy DK and I got that, I'd be a real happy camper for a while.
Yeah. Looks cool as shit.
Yeah.
Crit haste. Nice. Eye of Purification Axe.
So this will probably
looks so
be the
cool.
weapon. Yeah, that's probably the weapon your Resto Shamans and Holy Paladins are going to use until you kill Rag. It's a really good weapon.
Okay. Solid. Shadow Skull Bone Crusher. We mentioned this one earlier too. This is the Draenei.
Yeah, Draenei enhances.
Shaman. Yeah. Okay. And then Smoldering Sensor of Purity. Another staff. Very similar to the one off of...
That one's a little bit better. Like for if you're a Boomkin and you know you're not going to get Tarskos' Rest and you're progging, like I would go for that. Or if I was a Shadow Priest, because Spirit Haste is really, really good.
Okay. Spirit Haste spell power, solid. With a red socket for Tenant. Okay. And then Trash. These items always drop at 370 whatever, 378 eye level, and then in order to get the 391 version, you need to turn it in with a Crystallized Firestone, which Blizzard has stated that they are buffing the drop rates on. So we should see more of them, which is good because they were pretty fucking rare before. And there's a lot of stuff on here that's actually BIS for people. So this is good for us. Ripplim's Lost Collar.
Ripplim's Lost Collar, I think all the leather edge users use it, so Rogues and Druids. I think tanks and DPS ferals, so it's... I mean, you're gonna have to see the item first, right? So I think can you buy this item off the auction house and then turn it in with the Crystallized Firestone?
I would imagine so. Why couldn't you?
Okay, that's...
Trash Farm,
nice.
these are gonna be going for a lot of gold.
Trash Farms off rip are gonna be extremely profitable, especially if you get this Strength trinket we're gonna talk about a little later.
I mean, yeah, the apparatus is gonna go for 1 million gold. Guaranteed.
Yeah. Apocrankus.
All right, Hidebound Chains Wrist Mail.
It's BIS for both. It's a hunter item. Grats Hunters.
Firebound Gorget.
Blood DKs want this, and special fun fact, it is the most mastery on a neck item, and it's not even close, so Mastery Snapshotter is going to want this as well.
Interesting. So casters will want this.
Well, Mastery Snapshotters, which includes Sub-Rogues and Fury Warriors, who we respect and love.
All right, good to know. Thex Ember Seal.
Tanks.
Grats tanks. Apparatus Strength.
I'm an 11
Your
dex.
melee crits grant Titanic power, allowing you to power this device. Titanic power stacks up to 5 and lasts 30 seconds. On use, consume all your Titanic power to increase your crit, haste, or mastery rating by 508 per Titanic power accumulated, lasting 15 seconds. The apparatus will always choose the highest of those 3 ratings.
I kind of hate like build-up trinkets like this. It's kind of like the one off we saw this last tier off the trash that like all the strength users some of the strength users had to use like warriors and rets. Just really lame. But Unholy's the only one that doesn't use this, so if you get this off trash, yeah, exactly. Fury of the Satyr Forge, exactly. Gender fluid, that's 100% correct. So, I mean, just give it to someone who has the taste for that trinket and doesn't really mind between the 3. But Unholy doesn't use it, so Grats Unholies, you escape the prison of the apparatus of cringe.
Grats Unholies, you've escaped the apparatus of cringe. That's a quote. This is a cool trinket. It's gonna go for bonkers gold. If you are in a guild and you think you can full clear Firelands week 1, I would recommend selling it on the auction house. Don't give it to your guys. Sell it. It's going to go for incredible gold.
I mean, what is your guild going to, on average, use the gold for? I bet half the guilds out there have guild repairs on, and you don't know why. So, Grats, you're going to fund like another week of guild repairs from all the wiping you're going to do on Ragprog. Just give it to your person that cares about doing damage and let them be happy.
I disagree. You should sell it for a bajillion gold, and then some, person's going to buy it and be happy. Guild repairs, feasts, and cauldrons. I agree. One of these will fund that for months.
Shadow rating is relatively pretty cheap overall.
All right.
So,
Scales of Life. Stam. Equip. Stores up to 17,000 additional health from spells which heal you for more than your maximum health. Use. Instantly release all health stored on the Scales of Life as a self-heal.
Right to the auction house with that trinket. You gotta fund the feasts and the flasks and the cauldrons.
You guys are dicks. It's good advice. All right. Scales of Life. Grats tanks. Chelly's Sterilized Scalpel.
It's like a really okay dagger. You could replace some tier 11 weapons with it. So, like if a Grats Healers or something. I don't know. It's not that good.
Grats Healers. Obsidian Cleaver.
A one-handed strength axe might be kind of cool for Fury Warriors.
I assume Chelly
strength,
was
yeah?
somebody famous in the community or something back in the day, because there's the staff and all this. So
It's a strength one-handed axe, man. Yeah, that's Frosty K. This. That's my
Grats
bad.
Frosty Case.
I'm sorry, all Frosty Ks.
Rancier of Hatred.
Give it to your druids and your hunters, I guess. If your druids don't have the flame scythe, it's like it's a polearm.
All right, I think you probably go hunter, right? Spire of Scarlet Pain. This thing looks cool.
I mean, it's a hit crit staff. You could give it to your mages as an upgrade of tier 11, even its baseline. So
Seems good.
I mean,
Hit, crit, spell power. What don't you love?
That's all right. Could be better, could be worse.
And then Lava Bolt Crossbow to round out our list.
Yeah, that's Rogue Prio, I think. I'm just kidding. Give it to your hunters.
Grats Hunters. This one looks fine.
Fine.
And then somebody asked, what item is Firestone Prio? I think you want to probably go Apparatus first.
Yeah, apparatus and weapons for sure.
Yeah. Apparatus is BIS. These aren't BIS, maybe outside of the Obsidian Cleaver, right? So you want to use Firestones on items that are BIS and not on just random one-offs that you're going to replace eventually.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you can also use them for relics.
Yeah, good call. We have to talk about the legendary staff. Pummel, what do you think about the orange?
It's all right. So this is really tough because right now in the sim, there isn't any 100% accuracy for how the proc works. And that's a lot of determinants of where the staff is going. It's still being fleshed out, so it's hard to determine. And all I have is Feels Craft, and I have forums from back in the day. So there's no mathematics between this for this answer because there isn't any that I could mathematically possibly do. So I apologize beforehand. But if I had to pick, I would pick people that did direct damage, Boom Kid, Ellie, Shaman, Mage, those 3, over Warlock and Shadow Priest at the end of the day. But it's supposed to duplicate dots just as strong as it duplicates direct damage, because that was a change they made back in the day. But I can't test it, so it's not even fair. So at the end of the day, give it to the person who cares about doing damage the most, and who's going to stick around with your guild throughout the entirety of Firelands until your guild dies.
It's
like
Dragon Soul Bis 2 for casters. So we've said this for like 4 oranges up to this point, but it's about player over class. But if you took player out of the equation, we're thinking probably Mage and Ellie Shaman, maybe Balance Druid.
Just can't direct it. It's supposed to fix the dot duplication.
We can't see it. Blizzard has confirmed they are putting the staff on the PTR in the coming days. Once that's in and we can sim it properly, we will give you a real answer. But until then, we can't. So out of the data that we have based off of old forum posts and all this shit, that's kind of where we're at. But we're just going to have to update you as soon as it's on the PTR, which should be in the next few days.
If you have comments about any of these items, by the way, or you want to give some input to things that we're woefully unaware of, make comment in Jordy's Discord under the Loot Talk channel, because I will be monitoring it like a hawk. You could at me, you could add Jordy, and we will update things if we agree on it and test it out. So don't be afraid to give your opinion. And don't be upset if we disagree with your opinion, because at the end of the day, it's an opinion. That, you know, if you have math, then it's not an opinion, right? It's fact. But we're very malleable to changing things based on reality, versus, because there's a lot of items here, and I spent a lot of time looking through this, but definitely some things are wrong. For example, you know, Obsidian Cleaver. I'll be apologizing to the Frosty case, you know, just like I'm still apologizing to the Boomkin community for the Oldar fiasco. If you know, you know.
That's true. That was a fiasco. As far as disc, by the way, the proc is arcane damage, so you won't get atonement heals off of it. But even then, you're not giving this to a healer. Okay, well, again, that rounds out the Phase 3 Loot Prio Guide. Pummel, thank you so much for all the work here. It was really fun doing this with you, as it normally is making stuff with you, so I appreciate it. We're going to each post this to our respective Patreons. Again, it's $5, and we each have resources for various things on our Patreons in addition to just this. So yeah, thank you guys so much for being here today. It was a lot of fun. Pummel, thanks, dude.
Yeah, man, it was a lot of fun. Thank you all for hanging out and listening, and I look forward to any sort of feedback. So thank you very much for hanging out.